In the quiet shadows of suburban Germany, where the facade of normalcy masks deeper currents of darkness, a chilling story of desire, taboo, and depravity unfolded. This is the story of Armin Meiwes, the Rotenburg Cannibal, a tale that will haunt you long after the final words have been spoken, a journey into the darkest corners of the human psyche. It was March 9, 2001, when the quiet, sleepy town of Rotenburg in Hesse, Germany, was shattered by a gruesome revelation. Armin Meiwes, a man who lived in an ordinary house with a white picket fence and a garden that seemed to belong to 1,000 other homes, was about to make headlines around the world. But what lay behind the mundane exterior of his life was far from ordinary. It was a darkness so profound it defied comprehension. Armin Meiwes had always felt out of place, a man whose desires deviated sharply from societal norms. He was obsessed with cannibalism, a fascination that had simmered beneath the surface of his life for years. His mind was a labyrinth of dark fantasies, his soul twisted by an insatiable hunger that could not be quelled by the mundane comforts of daily existence. It began with an online forum, a digital meeting place where he found kindred spirits, people who shared his most forbidden desires. In these online circles, he was not alone. He was part of a community, albeit a fringe one, where the taboo was not only discussed, but pursued with an unsettling fervor. And then, in the midst of these conversations, he found his willing participant, a man named Bernd Jürgen Brandes. Brandes was a 43-year-old engineer, and like Meiwes, he harbored a dark desire to be consumed. The two men struck up a conversation that quickly escalated from chatroom banter to the planning of a horrifying act. The meeting was arranged with an eerie calm. Brandes traveled to Meiwes' home, entering the ordinary house with an acceptance of his fate that was as chilling as it was incomprehensible. They spoke of their dark fantasy openly, their words laden with a morbid anticipation. To an outsider, it would have seemed like a grotesque fantasy, a bizarre encounter between two disturbed minds. Inside Meiwes' home, a room had been prepared, a chilling stage for their macabre ritual. The room was ordinary at first glance, but there were signs of the horrifying intentions that lay beneath. Tools and equipment, surgical knives, and a well-prepared kitchen. As the night wore on, the two men carried out their disturbing plan with methodical precision. Brandes agreed to have his genitalia severed, a grotesque act of mutual desire and consent. The severing was done with a detached clinical efficiency, an act that seemed to transcend the boundaries of normal human behavior. Brandes, despite the horrific pain, remained calm, almost resigned, his desire to fulfill his fantasy overpowering his physical agony. But the act did not end with the severing. Meiwes' desires went beyond mere infliction of pain. He wanted to consume Brandes. In the grim hours that followed, Brandes was killed, his body prepared and cooked in the kitchen. The details of the act are too gruesome to describe in full, but suffice to say, Meiwes followed through with his dark craving, eating parts of Brandes' body in a perverse celebration of his twisted fantasy. The following day, Meiwes contacted the authorities, confessing his actions with a chilling nonchalance. He had recorded the entire event, documenting every detail of his gruesome feast. The confession was not one of a man overwhelmed by guilt, but of someone who had carried out his desires to their horrific conclusion. When the police arrived at Meiwes' home, they were met with a scene of unimaginable horror. The evidence of his crime was laid bare, a testament to the depths of his depravity. The case shocked the world, a macabre spectacle that pushed the boundaries of human comprehension. Media coverage was intense, and the story of the Rotenburg Cannibal became a symbol of the darkest aspects of human nature. In the aftermath, Meiwes was arrested and charged with manslaughter. The trial was a public spectacle, the details of his crime broadcast for all to see. The court proceedings revealed the full extent of his actions, the disturbing motivations behind them, and the chilling reality of his desires. Throughout the trial, Meiwes maintained a disquieting calm, a detachment from the horror he had inflicted. He spoke of his actions with a cold logic, a twisted justification that left many questioning the nature of his sanity. The courtroom was filled with a palpable sense of dread, as the details of the crime unfolded before a horrified audience. Armin Meiwes was ultimately convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to life in prison. His actions had not only shocked the world, but had also left a lasting scar on the collective consciousness. The story of the Rotenburg Cannibal became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind closed doors and the disturbing depths to which the human mind can descend. In the years that followed, the story of Armin Meiwes continued to resonate, a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked desires and the macabre side of human nature. His tale remains a haunting example of how far one man can go when driven by the darkest of cravings, and how the ordinary can become a vessel for the most extraordinary horrors. So as you reflect on the story of Armin Meiwes, remember this: the darkness is not always easy to see, but it is always there, lurking just beneath the surface. Sometimes, it manifests in the most unexpected places, in the quiet suburbs, in the seemingly normal lives of ordinary people. And when it does, it reminds us that the true horrors are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for their moment to be revealed.